section of track right now. We saw how yesterday it all got very dicey under brakes. They go up through the gears and look for that opportunity. How late do you go? Tej Patel dropping a little bit down the order and immediately route under pressure here on the brakes. So they cleanly negotiate their way through. That's a little bit too wide. No real understanding of the trouble. And it's late behind the pack. Well, funnily enough, I think we've got through quite cleanly.
That's all right, because there we go around. This is going to get it down for a very good out of Ravindra. Now on the move, who's already moves up to position number 7. Tej Patel still stays at number 5. Navi Kumar, decent start, moves all the way up to number 6. So he's really
Found himself in not the best place, and there is Smuts around the outside, runs himself out of road here a little bit through Ascari. It's very tough to hold too wide through here, but everyone's fighting, and there's 2 off actually in the grass and gravel there, and that will promote Kuti and Ravindra up into 7th and 5th place respectively, just trying to catch an eye on who those 2 were that ran themselves off the road. It looks like also Kuti trying to dive from the inside as well on Sonawana. So it looks like we've got 2 big battles going on right now. Sonawana's not going to give this one up. He tries to go around the outside, runs him off the road, and headlights flashing there from Amit Kuti. He was not impressed. 5 minutes, but we've already seen it from about a handful of incidents that you can lose it. Raj Tula still in control at the front, but Ravindra is the one making the progress. Here's the battle 5th and 6th. Routes under pressure now. Here comes Raghav with the Raj as Tula sets the fastest lap temporarily at least.
So let's get on to your top 10. This is Raj at number 1, Aditya at number 2, Jamie Shaw at number 3, Aru Ravindra at 4, Rohit at number 5, Raghav at 6, Pratik at number 7, Amit Kuti at number 8, and Ashish Raj at 9, and Siddharth at 10. Well, it's still early days. I agree with you completely down, because one thing Amit did yesterday was he opened the entire championship table. Navneet Kumar with his performance brought in a little bit of a jump on the championship table as well. Now Aru Ravindra has to be stopped now. He's got over 30 minutes with him, and I sense something that he possibly may be able to play in the long game here. He's done
trying to find a way through here at the Della Roggia, the 2nd section of corners. How late on the brakes do you go? 2 into it, and he will lose out then on that top 10. Just like that, he's got to be careful he doesn't find himself on the freight train.
Aru Ravindra is still knocking.
Here comes Abhinay Bakani trying to go to the outside here on the run to Ascari. It's the long way around. Has the toe to help though, and on the brakes is just slightly later, able to turn it in and gain the place. So up to...
Now, this is Ashish Raj now taking the fight back again. He's moving up the position time. 2 cars side by side entering a corner. Somebody's got to brake late and let the other one pass. Ashish Raj is the man who's not going to be getting that really done. So he's down to number 10. And Glenn moves up to position number 9.
Once again here to make things happen. So it's so easy that you lose those spots. He tried to fight back, he did right route, wasn't able to make that one happen and to make that one work on track. So Rohit Rout under pressure now, going to be losing the 8th position as Glenn Cheetah's had a really good run today. He gets it sorted, that as well as Munjal Samla, who is trying to go up into 10th place and I think has just managed it. So another position then found out there on circuit and another change of place, Solomon, right now. Here's Cathadia looking down the inside here for 12th place, and can he find a way to make this happen? And the answer to that one then is yes. So to make this one happen, but again too late on the brakes this time goes Raj Tula, so focused on defending and being the later breaker he forgot to make the corner. Aru Ravindra gets a freebie to take the race lead. Someone
up on the slipstream a little bit ahead as they come to the other part of the track here. Amit Kuti still at number 3. This is going to be a very interesting fight. Come on, he's on the outside right now. Oh, we missed him on that camera. Where are they right now? Amit Kuti is now moved up to position number 2nd. Aditya Pawar had to surrender that lead.
He had to try and an attack here, Dynamic Cruise. He used a great deal of that curves, and then all of a sudden, going out to the exit. This is aggressive from Aditya Pawar, trying to look down the inside of the first Lesmo corner. Got a great run off of the exit, but wasn't able to hold it.
In the meantime, Oshan fighting for the 10th position versus Redon, and also the Glenn and Ashish Raj fighting at 11 and 12 at the moment.
It's almost Kumar hasn't had the best of starts. He's caught himself in a bit of trouble, as that is Abhinay Bikani, who is on the outside here trying to fight this one, and Tej Patel down the inside moving into the top 15. So a very, very awkward moment. There were 3 wide there on the back stretch heading towards Parabolica, and onto the front straight once again, able to make it all work. But now Tej Patel will have to be a little bit concerned here about this defence. Which way do you want to go here, Abhinay? We'll think about the inside to try and make this one happen, but he is a lot earlier on the brakes. Can you all slow it up? Answer's going to be yes. So Bikani just getting out of the way there and making sure that he has an opportunity to fight a little later on.
Flash your lights if you want to, but that's
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
That's Tej Patel, who's just gone off then and had a spin at the second chicane. Bikani is through on Navneet Kumar then down the inside. That was easily done. Too heavy over the first curve, and around Tej Patel went. Now he's back down into 17th position. Right. Cheetah in 10th then, wants to move up into 9th, get around Rohit Raut and find himself through. The pole sitter, of course, Rohit Raut, has been looking backwards, and around the outside of Curva Grande it's going to have to be. We'll have the inside here at the Della Roggia chicane to make this move. So Cheetah late on the brakes. Raut's trying to hold this one around the outside, but he runs out of road there, and very, very comfortably, Glenn Cheetah now up into 9th here.
Back again. Jamie Shaw gets back into the mix as well. We were talking about it again. Raj Dullah, I beg your pardon, Raj Dullah is in the mix with Aditya Pawar. This is the fight for the 3rd and the 4th, and they're going to battle it down with just a little over 4 minutes. Well, this is the time where the gloves possibly come off and you really want to take it to the finish line.
It's all about those gloves. Raj Dullah trying to attack here and get himself on the front stretch. Is in 3rd position right now, but now he's got to look behind, because once again Aditya Pawar is going to want to try and get back through and try and get this on the straight. This is one of the things you have with curves. You can deploy it any which way you like, but Raj Dullah holds it off for the time being and now finds himself in that 3rd position. But a good
power. You only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
Racing, competing is in my blood. It's part of me, it's part of my life. I've been doing it all my life. It stands up before anything else.
So we've been here for 10 years now, and we've been kind of creating a journey. We've been very much focusing on young drivers in order to create also a wider scale in this country.
The idea of Volkswagen as a brand is to support and grow motorsport.
They will not be able to hear anything.
understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Right, 3. 30. 7 left. 20. 8 right over crest into care. 5 right. 8 right over crest into care. 5 right. 20 down. Right, don't go wide. 50. Slow 7 right, then 6 right. 30. 7 right, up exit narrows. 40. 5 left, then 5 right bites. 40. 1 left plus. 1 left plus. 250, room outside. Narrow of a jump. 130. Pink right. Up before. 6 right up. 60.
Halfway. Always a talking point when you get to halfway. You sort out who maybe are in the right place and who maybe are not going to be in the right place. Today is going to be a very difficult challenge for these drivers. They tackle a surface which, for many a driver before them, they know has been a really important battleground in past, present, and futures. It is the Nürburgring, and we are here at the Grand Prix layout looking for some amazing action. In terms of where we are, Volkswagen Motorsports launched the Polo Cup in 2010, marking their entrance into Indian motorsport. The aim was to provide a platform for young drivers to begin professional racing and display their skills on a national level. Since then, they have produced many race drivers who have progressed to race internationally, and since its inception in 2010, Volkswagen Motorsport India's goal is to develop motorsports in India, to find and groom India's next international racing star, and they demonstrate the technologies like TSI and DSG via their motorsport platform. The brand boasts of successfully completing 10 seasons of one-make championships with different Volkswagen cars, and that includes winning the Indian Touring Car Championship in its debut season, along with wins in the Indian National Rally Championship, which we just saw earlier on in our piece that we had. But now is a new era. They have launched the Volkswagen Virtual Racing Championship, the VW VRC, which is focused on bridging the gap between virtual racing and real-world racing by giving a fully sponsored season to the winner of the Volkswagen Virtual Racing Championship. This collaborates with the Driving Force, which is India's first docu-series based on motorsports in India and is produced by VWMI. It's a 6-part series that takes audiences on a trip of a lifetime and brings out the forces that drive individuals to take up the unconventional sport. The show is streamed on some of India's largest OTT platforms, such as Disney+, Hotstar, Jio TV, and many, many more. Along for the ride is MRF, the high-grade tyre manufacturing company, which supplies tyres all around India and internationally as well. They've been associated with Volkswagen Motorsports India for 5 years and are a major supporter of motorsports in the country with their active contribution in the Indian National Racing Championship, rally programs in India, and internationally at a level of Formula 4000. Big shout out goes to the Venky's Group, who are the largest fully integrated poultry group in Asia, who also help support us here today. Today they play a proud parent to a number of reputed organisations under its wide umbrella and successfully caters to poultry and its allied sectors. That's also along with the NECC, the National Egg Coordination Committee. They are an association of poultry farmers in India with a membership of more than 25,000 strong. In the past 2 decades, the NECC has played a significant role for the betterment of the poultry industry in general and the egg industry in particular, and both the Venky's and the NECC have been associated together for 2 years, and they are active in their contribution for developing, supporting and promoting sports in the country, along with supporting athletes and the consumption of appropriate nutrition and protein through various initiatives. My name's Jake Sperry here, joined alongside by Solomon Paras here for proceedings today around what is a wonderful Nürburgring circuit. This has every makings of a classic race. You've got undulation, you've got the old turning into the new, and what's very crucial around this place is that this is a flow track. Keeping flow, momentum keeps you in the race.
You talk about shakedown, we can actually expect a shakedown in the qualifying today. As we're talking about it, we were also looking at the championship leader. It is Aro Ravindra with 186 points. But this is one of those moments where somebody in the mid-pack, maybe a guy like Raghav or Steve Smuts, for example, would look to make an impact. And as I was talking right now, Steve Smuts is right here and he's already up to P2. Can he hold on to that with 3 minutes 40 seconds to go? It's going to be an exciting race, Jake. I'm all excited here and we're all set to watch the action shortly.
Absolutely, and we are seeing here qualifying is going to be very interesting right now. We're about 3 minutes and 30 seconds away from finding out who is going to be at the top of the timing stands, but we're going to step aside very, very quickly when it comes to us here and your VW VRC. We'll be back with more after this.
Why? It's hard to explain why. It's just that feeling of freedom, you know? Being out there on the road and you have all this power. I mean, I could just be cruising down the road, taking it easy, or I could push that pedal and make that engine sing, right? Power is, it's a beautiful thing, man. But, you only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
2 minutes away then from the end of qualifying. Amit Kuti, who needs to make an impact here today, is only, you could say you can count on one hand how many points behind he is in the championship right now. Well, he's got himself in the best possible position at this stage. You've got someone like Amit Kuti in first. Ara Ravindra is the championship leader coming into this one. He's in position number 4 right now, Solomon, in qualifying. This might be one of those races we see here today where drivers are looking to try and take something out of this here, as Oshan Kothadir actually, who is desperately in need for some luck in this championship, has now pulled himself off the side of the road and said, I can do no better than second.
When you have about 82 points deficit from the championship leader, you really need to up your performance, and that's what he's really doing at the moment. Roshan Kotaria needs to pull that up a little bit. Maybe he's got to wait for the race to come to him. I was just looking at the championship leader, just 6 points. As you rightly said, it's going to be close between Amit Kuti versus Aro Ravindra. But what a revelation! What a revelation Amit Kuti has been. As Aro Ravindra decides to go for possibly have one more time, one more go, so does Steve Smuts tries to have a go again just to improve on the lap time.
Yeah, and it's all about that improvement that we see here as Ara Ravindra is currently in 4th. We're down to the final 50 seconds. They are allowed to finish the lap times that they start. Raghav Budaraja remains in 6th place, 203.298. his time at the moment, but it is the top 6 and everybody else at the moment here, Solomon, right now. There's a 4/10 of a second gap between Budaraja and Munjal there in 7th place.
That is a big deficit there. You spot that on well. 4/10 of a second. I think maybe they're possibly conserving something at the point of time. We will get to know when the race starts. But at the point of time, I was just wondering, somebody like Raj should, and maybe Jamie should have upped their speed up. I'm actually surprised that he's down with about 7/10. So there's still possibly a little bit of reserve, I would presume, and I hope it's that way.
Mia Rose, the guest driver here today, jumping up into 9th position, and she's someone that I'm very fond of. I've known her for a very long time through my exploits in Australian sim racing. She's been right up there picking up results here and there, part of a really big generation of female talent in sim racing. It includes the likes of Emily Jones, Rebecca Pauline. You can keep going down the list on drivers who have done well. Qualifying is, though, coming to a close. Amit Kuti is currently on pole position. It's going to be a hard yard to see if anyone is going to be finding improvements. At the moment, he is down only 800 in the opening sector, which is the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Now heading towards the bottom of the circuit here. This is the lowest point on this Nürburgring layout. You can see the lights flashing. That indicates that the KERS system, the kinetic energy recovery system, is being used right now, hitting the brakes, diamonding off the corner before attacking hard on the exit and using more of that kinetic energy recovery. Probably some of the last of it here in terms of this run. Navneet Kumar jumps up to 7th place. Then late on in qualifying, this is going to be all about big lap times that we see in the late stages. Jumps up with that 203.6 past Munjal Savla there in 8th place. But Kuti here has found improvement in that middle sector, but not by much. 2/10 clear. Koffadir's not going to be challenging. Maybe Smuts can make a challenge. Maybe Ravindra has an opportunity here to knock on the door and say, I can get a little bit closer, make my 30 minutes of racing here today just a little bit easier. And that also translates into what happens tomorrow when we have that 12 inverse. Worth noting, we're using the endurance layout chicane here, more rather than the Formula 1 chicane. So it's going to be a lot quicker, a lot more difficult of an overtaking opportunity into the final sector. But here will come the drive to the line. Amit Kuti, with that KERS going on, does not find improvement on the time, but gave it a good go of things then. So confirmation of qualifying results. It's Kuti from Kothadir. Smuts and Ravindra are on the 2nd row, with Rishabh and Raghav on row number 3. Navneet and Munjal will start on row number 4, with Tej Patel alongside Mia Rose to make the top 10 locked out. Jamie Shaw 204 flat in 11th position. Then you got Lalit Jabak in 12th place. Raj Tula, Pratik Sonawana, maybe surprising his qualifying efforts here today, down in 14th place. Garvit Loda making the top 15 here for proceedings. We are just about 6 minutes away from the start of this race, Solomon, and let's just dissect qualifying for a little bit there. Amit Kuti being 2/10 clear of the field.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, we're talking about the man. He's the man to beat at the moment. He's also the man that, when he came out on the track, maybe to less than 30 seconds to go, I was just looking at the lap timings and he was only getting better. And the only man he was trying to take on was himself. So he was trying to better his own lap time. And the fact is that he is in good form and he will hope to carry that and possibly take that challenge to Ara Ravindra. Remember, we're only looking at a 6 points deficit. You were talking about Mia Rose, pretty impressive. Been in sim racing for 3 years, and I think on iRacing, and 7 months on ACC. So there is a big profile and a big profile for her.
Absolutely, and Mia Rose, I've said before, someone that I've been quite close with, had good conversations with in the past, someone who probably is looking for just that next level to break through and find those big results and get on a big team and maybe get the ball rolling, so to speak, in terms of a sim racing career. She's been around for a very long time and knows the ins and outs of how things are going. And she has now started to move, maybe in terms of discipline, maybe in terms of sim. And it's something that we don't often get that chance to talk about too much. We're going to step aside just one moment here with your action for the VW VRC. Back with more after this.
There's an old saying in motorsport, if you want to make a million, start with a billion.
You got to work your way up. You got to have talent. Ultimately, you have to be born with an ability to drive the car fast. I think you have to be practical, pragmatic. You have to be able to bounce back from a lot of setbacks, because you'll have 9 bad days for every one day, but the joy you feel on that one day makes up for the other 9.
It's probably one of the toughest sports, mentally, physically, and many people crack, many people move aside and fade away. But if you want to sustain, then you have to really fight it.
You have to be fearless. You are always fighting against, and you don't think about what could happen when things go really wrong.
If you don't have that little bit of craziness in you, it's not going to really work out long term.
My mind, I always use the aggressive approach. If you don't want to move forward, you always end up going backwards.
For me, it's always a great experience, motorsports, because you smell the tires, you smell the oil, you smell the excitement of the drivers, and it's just car poor.
It also goes as a big sacrifice in terms of your career, because you're into something which is not conventional and it's not going to give you too much of returns monetary, at least not in the short term. Where your friends are, doing masters, living in the US, making a lot of money. You're here doing your thing that you love, which is not really giving you back in monetary terms, but you definitely go back home and sleep good because you're doing what you love at the end of the day.
The driver needs to extract every last fraction of a second, otherwise they're not going to win.
With battlegrounds aplenty then on the real world scene, the virtual scene does the same. Amit Kuti on pole position with Oshan Kotadia alongside. Smuts and Ravindra, the championship leader, starting from 4th position. Then it's Rishab Banerjee and Raghav Budaraja making 5th and 6th. Navneet Kumar 7th and Munjal Savla in 8th place. Tej Patel starts alongside Mia Rose for the top 10 with Jamie Shaw, Lalit Jabak with Raj Tula and Pratik Sonawana in 14th place. Garvit Loda makes the top 15 on the grid here at this moment in time, and we're about a minute away from starting proceedings. Just a handful of points only in the championship right now, but Kuti starts this race in prime position right now to make sure that everything plays out in the right factor. We'll be waiting for the lights. We'll be waiting for that opportunity to get ourselves ready and going. There'll be 30 minutes on the clock. There will be no need to come in and make a stop. You race to the checkered flag here today, and of course it is 30 minutes plus finishing the lap that you start, which takes you over those 30 minutes. Drivers on the outside line will have the racing line rubbered in line into turn number 1. That will give them the advantage. So Ravindra has double trouble here today. He'll have to start on the dirty side of the circuit, which makes things very, very difficult. Brake lights going on. A lot of drivers hoping to get themselves ready and waiting for that action that gives them the green light and gives them the okay and the go-ahead here to really have that run. And there you can see just how every driver will be thinking and wondering how this is going to go. The likes of Amit Kuti here today on the front of the grid. Solomon, very quickly, how will he be feeling here after a great pole?
I would be hoping that he carries his confidence into the race, but I wouldn't write off Steve Smut yet, because Oshan Kathoria is right on the inside. So I do expect Steve Smut to basically sit on a little bit on towards the bumper there when they move into corner number 1. As you rightly said, it's a very low right-hander as soon as you go drive down about 200 meters into that one.
Absolutely, and we are just waiting for the signal to go ahead, make sure that everyone's ready and get themselves to go. The 6 red lights are going to be coming on then, and once we get ourselves through, we're going to get ready to start and ready to race at the Nürburgring. Round 5 here of your VW VRC starts now, and it's all about the drive here, down towards the opening sections of this one. Already Kothadia looking to try and get through right up to the pit wall, trying to get by Amit Kuti, but Kuti is going to have to be very, very cautious about this defence. This first corner, this first hairpin is very, very tough. And it looks like Kothadia on the inside has got himself exactly what's needed here. But no, Kuti, you running the outside line, has done just enough. Ravindra's got off to a good start as well, as we look at Rishab Banerjee, currently in 6th position now, trying to defend, running a little bit wide there through the arena and looking to attack here off the exit. But Kuti's got exactly what he wants. Ravindra is up to 3rd place, and the start pretty clean from those at the front, but Kothadia now has to work.
Steve Smut not having the best of starts, but I actually thought that Oshan Kothadia did well to come off very, very strong again. You rightly said that he was on the dirty side, more cleaner side for Steve Smut, but Arul Ravindra out of blues somehow managed to keep Steve Smut right behind. Now remember, as the lap comes to them, they will definitely like to use push to pass sometime. So Arul Ravindra could be under danger of that little overtaking there. So Steve Smut has to come back all guns blazing. In the meantime, Raghav started at number 6. He moves up to number 5, exchanging places with Rishab Banerjee.
There is Banerjee running into a few troubles behind. He missed the apex through the Schumacher S as Ravindra tries to go around the outside and pick up a move, as does the driver in 7th place trying to find a way through. But Ravindra down the inside of Kothadia, and this could be 2nd place. And damage limitation once again is found, but you get this huge run through Ad Van Bogen, the next right-hander out on circuit, which really does make some great driving out there. And is this going to be a case where we see the overtake happen? The answer is no, but crucially, Arul Ravindra 2 places off the start. This is why he's in title contending form, because he can find those sorts of places. Smut's now on the back of Kothadia here in the fight for 3rd, and Raghav definitely not giving up things right now, currently in 5th place as things stand.
Steve Smut will like to use push to pass this time around. Okay, how is he able to come around? He's trying to use the curves a little bit at this point of time. Arul Ravindra will feel the little bit of pressure, but he somehow managed to squeeze past ahead of Oshan. Steve Smut still struggling. In the meantime, as we're talking about, Rishabh Banerjee hit the curbs late, and thanks to that, Munjal has moved up to position number 6. So he's dropped 2 positions already. And we were watching Mia Rose. She's up to 8. Can she go up to the top 5?
7th now down the inside, then at turn 3, and she picks up the place with a very, very comfortable run there down the inside. It's one of the classic moves that you find here around this circuit. But look who's in that pack as well. In 8th place, it's Pratik Sonawana, already up 6 places off at the start of this race. Needed a big result today to consolidate position in the championship. Has been a consistency driver as Rose does run off the circuit ever so slightly, and now the train falls behind her. But Pratik Sonawana has had a really good start to this race.
That was about 2 minutes back. She had already down 2 positions. Now she's already up 2 positions. Mia Rose has done well. But Pratik Sonawana is now holding back a line of cars there as well. He's trying to somehow tail Mia Rose. Pratik Sonawana close, but not close enough. But this could be it. Mia tries to defend. Pratik Sonawana tries to break late into the corner. As the corner approaches, he'll run out of track. Mia Rose defended well there.
Absolutely, on the inside, had to do what was needed, but will that sacrifice the run here through the big right-hander, which leads up to Van Boden corner? Answer to that one is no. A little bit of sideways there in the background that we just saw, but this is 30 minutes worth of racing. We're already 4 minutes through that, and nearly 3 laps completed at this stage. They jam on the brakes through the left and the right. You try and be as aggressive as possible, but you've got those very archaic walls on the left and right. If you do get it slightly wrong, well, that is the hard consequences for that. Amit Kuti, fastest lap of the day, 2:03.398. You can take that one to the bank and cash it at this stage. You don't get any points for the fastest lap in this one, but it is a big reminder on what you can get. Look at Smuts, though, in 4th place, just tailing the back of Cavadia here and searching for a way through up onto the podium positions. He had a torrid time when it came to racing action. Of course, at Monza, the double headers, he had 2 dropouts from disconnections, and that was why he dropped so far down the order and dropped effectively out of championship contention.
Mia Rosa is completely unnerved. She's really taking on it. She's actually relishing it. In fact, the pressure is back on Pratik Sonawana. You really would feel that Pratik Sonawana is feeling the pressure rather than Mia Rose at this point of time. And Mia Rose take a bow so far. She's done so well. Now extending the lead for the fight for the 7th. On the way to fight with Munjal Savla for the fight for the 6th. Let's look at the gap. Just about 2:10. So let's give it about 5 minutes later. You would expect Mia Rose to have a battle for the fight for the 6th.
Absolutely. Now you start to see here where Munjal Savla is. The answer is about 2.5-3 seconds down the road, and looking to attack Raghav here for 5th place at this stage. Looking the long way around to pick up this move, but we look back to Navneet Kumar in 15th place. Had a very, very terrible start at Savla. Is through now up into 5th. He's now with Ryan Samaravel and co. Down there right in the middle. Now, he had a really good qualifying in Navneet. Had a really good round about 2 rounds ago at Monza, but now all of a sudden the pace has gone. It's a case of the ebbs and the flows of this sort of championship. Sometimes you're good, sometimes you're not as good. But Samaravel here sees this. This is Anuj Raj, who is going to be under pressure here, but has the inside line into the Bezwek chicane and is able to do just enough at this stage to hold on to place as things stands. There is Steve Smuts, and there is side by side for 5th just behind.
So then let's quickly run through the top 10. Amit Kuti, number 1, Aru Ravindra, 2, Oshan, number 3, Steve Smart on number 4, Raghav at number 5, Munjal at number 6, Mia Rose at 7, Pratik Sonawana at 8, Raj on 9, Tej Patel on 10. And this is your top 10. Don't go anywhere, because any moment you blink, you would have a battle coming in.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, in 10th position, you can see here the likes of Tej Patel having a pretty decent run of things at this moment in time, trying everything here to stay as close as possible here to the likes of Raj Tula, who is in 9th position, but just breaking away in the early stages has been the trouble at the moment. They're forming into these little packs here, a pack here, a pack there. This is the 8th and 9th place battle just in front of Tej Patel and Sonawana, who made a really good start. Now maybe doesn't have that 1 lap pace, has to start thinking about looking in the mirrors and trying to defend here in this one, Solomon.
It's always nice to see two cars just fighting it out for every space of that corner. As the right-hander came in, they wanted to brake a little bit late. Now he tries the outside. Now decides to come on the inside. No space there. So has to go run on the curbs there. So you try everything in the books again. You try to follow the car ahead. Now here comes the straight. As he got a little bit of draft, a little bit of slipstream there coming into that corner. Not at all. So the shorter corners does get the cars close to each other. And as the straights come around, there's an overtaking opportunity there. It is Nürburgring, the exciting track, isn't it?
It certainly is. Rushfield is certainly trying to get close and to make that move. Keep an eye out on this one to see whether it's going to happen or not. Up the hill into the left-right chicane. And the answer to that one is going to be no, with a little bit of contact to boot as well. So Tula has to slide it and try and save it. Let's focus on the driver in third position here. Ozan Kvadia, definitely someone who needs to have a good run here today. Definitely someone under pressure right now from Steve Smarts. We had the chance to talk to Ozan earlier on in the day and really understand what he needs to do in terms of his championship outlook.
Yeah, I'm Ozan Kvadia, 32 years old. I'm working in Netherlands. I used to race in 2010 and 2011 in Polo Cup in India. And I represented India in 2012 for the Scirocco R Cup also, because I finished second in the championship in Polo Cup. Yeah, the progress had been really nice during those 3 years. But yeah, I had to kind of give up racing for personal reasons. And then I went for my master's in 2014. So since then, I'm in Netherlands.
Well, there you can see, takes a big wide line down there at the hairpin, misses out then on the apex exit, does Kvadia. Steve Smuts just behind, will be desperately wanting to find a way through as they go up. Mia Rose as well has caught up onto the back she has on the likes of Munjal and Raghav in 6th and 5th positions, respectively. Has been there for about a lap and a little bit, just sightseeing, you could say, at the moment here. Solomon waiting for opportunities to present themselves.
Mia Rose, I'm very impressed. She has really shown a lot of confidence. Now, if you're looking down at Pratik Sanwani or looking down at Raj, you'd find them the kind of confidence that they came onto the track.
What happened to Kvadia? He's dropped back about 2-3 seconds from Steve Smuts. There may have been contact, we're not sure, may have run wide, but Kvadia has lost out on 3rd place here.
So I said let's not blink. So if you blink, you're going to lose positions, and that's possibly just happened here. So Steve Smut is being shown at number 3, and now Aro Ravindra moves up to position number 10. Where does Steve is not even there now. Steve Smut now back to number 3, Ozan Kvadia now at 4, Raghav at 5, Munjal at 6, Mia Rose at 7, Pratik Sanwani at 8, Tej Patel on 9, Raj at number 10. So Ozan Kvadia possibly had a contact. We'll get to that a little bit later. We'll come back to this. By the moment, Amit Kuti in the lead.
That's Rose down the inside of Munjal Savla through turn 1 and picks up another place. Jumps up into 6th position. So she's starting to run the gauntlet here, find the drives here and there, which really do give an indication of how well she's driving at the moment, and just getting enough of everything to gain a place here and a place there, and every position keeps ticking on. There's your race leader right now in the form of Amit Kuti, and just look at the margin that he has right now. It's got to be somewhere around 3-4 seconds at this moment in time. He's driving just like he did in Monza. He is absolutely waltzing Matilda away from this one at the moment at 4 seconds. The gap is right now, and Ara Ravindra is just looking at this going, well, I can afford to lose a couple of points here, but my championship lead once again is going to be the little bit of jeopardy. And it might be another case of where it's all about drivers tomorrow trying to break through and get themselves through on the reverse grid. We're going to step aside, though, for just a couple of seconds here. Back with more after this message.
Power is, you only understand it when you feel it, you know?
Volkswagen.
These drivers certainly have the power to play at the moment here, Solomon. We are just over 12 minutes through this race, coming up to the halfway stage. Amit Kuti, since corner number 1, hasn't been challenged since, and Ravindra here has just been slowly keeping himself to himself. But he's got to be careful here in this sort of run forward, because it's so easy to lose time at a track which really does force you to lose a lot of tenths by being inaccurate.
17 minutes is a very, very long time as far as sports is concerned, and virtual racing as well. Amit Kuti close to 4 seconds lead already. Aru Ravindra would be hoping that something plays to his advantage, but then he just should not be caught napping. I would really call it a lonely number 1. But let's talk about Mia Rose. What a confident drive this has been from her. Starting somewhere down, stuck at number 10, has moved up to position number 6. Raghav in danger of losing his position to Mia Rose. Great job, Mia. She's shown the confidence, and this would really do a world of good.
Absolutely. Well, when you talk about all those efforts that have been going on, she got a Simam wins from the GTWC Asia Esports Championship earlier on in the year, so she has that in the bank to go and work with as well. So here's riding Sam Ravel though in 14th position. This is an interesting battle down here for the minor points paying positions, because all of these drivers here right now are forming up what we call these battle pack songs, where they all form into line, and it's very easy to make mistakes. Raj Tula is in 10th place right now, trying to get through Tej Patel, and there's Pratik Sonawana in 8th place. This is real damage limitation for Pratik right now, who is coming into this event really high up there in the championship through sheer consistency, and once more is relying on that consistency to score points.
It is, the only difference is that you try and take the calculation between risk versus reward. Now, if you are Tej Patel at position number 9, you might as well hang on to it rather than trying to be a little too greedy. So you got to limit the damage when you're talking about points. So that's what must be playing in his mind. Remember the earlier races, he was a little too aggressive and he lost some precious points. This time around, he will like to learn some lessons from there.
Absolutely, you can see here from the aerial view how difficult that final chicane is, moving into that Hyundai N curve, the final corner out here on circuit, and out to in with that really, really close pit retainer wall, that Armco on the inside. Very tough to make things happen, but Patel here looking to try and gear up the run in towards turn number 1. Not close enough on the brakes. Pratik half defending here, going into opening section there. Wide goes Raj Tula, and I believe does get through, on Lalit Jabak there, who was the driver who ran wide. So Tula maintains 10th place. Jabak just a little bit greedy on the brakes. Oh, hello.
Ouch, that's really going to hurt. We were talking about that little mistakes there. And here it comes in front of you. Tej Patel now dropped down to a position more. Now, I think he's got to be a little bit careful, but then he's coming back in. Garvit Lodha right now currently in position number 14. It doesn't matter where you're fighting for positions, right at the back or in the front, as long as you fight for every position. And right at the back is where the competition's happening, the three-way fight for the 13th position, led by Jamie Shaw.
Just saw a little drift there in the background. You got Loda in 14, Sam Ravel in 13, but we did actually get a chance to chat to Garvit Loda earlier on. He's fighting for as many points as he can get right now. This could be a good result for him.
Hi, my name is Garvit Loda. I'm 16 years old. I'm living in Jodhpur, Rajasthan. Get to know about the championship through a WhatsApp group. From a game called GT Sport in PS4, I learned about F1 and other things from there. This game on PS4 GT Sport, then I started playing it and realized that it requires like a sim racing wheel, and you will get much faster with it. So I bought a sim racing wheel and met many friends online. They participated in championships.
It's very difficult being in a pack of 3. He finds himself in Schrodinger's overtake. He must attack and defend at exactly the same time right now, trying to make sure that this is going to be more than just a 14th place on the brakes into the final corner here. And then it's that charge down the straight once again. Sonowana's found some gap, but it's all about Raj Tula in 9th place and Lalit Jabak just behind that, because here comes the move, essentially here defended by Tula on the inside. Jabak trying to go through, a little bit of contact there as they go through, and now waiting is Tej Patel in 11th, Navneet there in 12th place, all of whom are sat there thinking, come on, we need a little bit of a oopsie daisy going through. Patel diving down to the inside now to get past Jabak, and does so, but here comes the next right-hander, 90 degrees right, feels like so much more than that in terms of a turn. Navneet forced to get out of the throttle there, but Patel has got the move through, and Navneet will follow here on Jabak.
But the only word that comes into my mind is when you're looking at 4 to 5 cars fighting out for that position, it's like this hunter pack. Somebody's trying to get ahead, and one of them, Navneet Kumar, is all thinking to himself, he's so close, but still not being able to apply that little bit of pressure. Raj Tulak almost tries to get a little inside move, but overtaking Mirva doesn't happen right now. He's side by side as they get into the corner. The left-hander would come in very, very quickly as they get onto the straights very, very quickly. Raj Tulak still stays at number 9. This is a good fight.
It's a good fight, but costed all of the run. Coming off the exit there of the carousel, diving for that inside, trying to be opportunistic and sniffing a move. It wasn't there. The way that the door was shut and the power had to be lifted off of in that section of road. This 5-car pack right now are fighting for the final spots inside of the top 10. And they know one small mistake will cost massively in terms of their run. Steve Smuts, he's a punch-on. He has a punch-on for fastest laps, and he's got another one, 202.9. Don't count out him in terms of the race to get back to the likes of Ara Ravindra. Defensive all the way as they go through. There's Kathadia in 4th.
Well, if you're Steve Smith, I've said this before, if you have the fastest lap time, you would expect to be a race. Come on, Mia Rose, she's really picking up the position. 5 positions already. Yeah, and we still got 10 minutes to go. Well done, Mia Rose. In the meantime, Steve Smart the fastest, and he would hope that he's able to catch on to Aru Ravindra. We still have 10 minutes to go. Raghu Burdwaja is now down to number 6. Great stuff, Mia.
Yep, so that's a position gain, but how much more in terms of the road can you find? It looks like Mia Rose, she's done quite a very good job in 5th place, but so a big gap in the final 10 minutes to catch Oshan, who was on qualifying form. In 2nd position, that's Jamie Shaw around. I think that's Lalit Jabak as well, who was caught up in that one. So Jabak going around and catching others up in that big instant with 10 minutes left to go. We're going to step aside for one moment, back with more after this.
Power. You only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
The VWC has done so very good, or the VRC I should say, is doing a very entertaining job once again of proving surprises up and down the order. A lot of drivers have just gained out of that little incident that we've seen. Sam Ravel now up to 13th. Richard is now into 14th position right now. But we focus here on Pratik Sonowana, who has now dropped back into 9th place. All of that was bottlenecking behind Pratik, and it's so very easy to happen time and time again, Solomon. You get a driver who's defending very, very aggressively, and then everyone behind trips over each other.
And Navneet Kumar was somewhere fighting at 13th, and now he sees himself at number 10. Now, given the fight that he was involved in, he was possibly sensing his opportunity again. Garvit Lodha was number 13, moves up by number 12. So it's an opportunity that presents itself, and you don't have to get too greedy when you're having a 4-way fight or a 5-way fight. You just got to wait for your opportunity, especially on the slipstream. I think they just moved in a little too quickly.
Absolutely, and we only caught the back end of that incident, but there's your race leader, has led every single lap and has led every single metre of this race right now, and that is Amit Kuti. But that is the battle for 2nd and 3rd just behind. Steve Smuts just slightly getting it wrong through the Valvoline curve, which goes down the hill and away. Sorry, the full curve down the hill and away. But this is the Dunlop curve, the big carousel-esque inspired by that carousel. Of course, the fabled carousel on the Nordschleife, the layout. Steve Smuts has eyes on that second place and could very much in the late stages of this championship, we are at the halfway stage, round 5 of 10, could very much just be the thorn or the difference maker in the championship battle between Kuti and Ravindra.
Well, the Dunlop curve is followed by the Michael Schumacher S's, and that's where you would find the cars lining each other up for an overtaking maneuver before they head to the curve there. But Amit Kuti, Pratik Samwana now drops down to position. It's really not going as per plan, but he's trying to limit the damage. I was pretty impressed with Amit Kuti. We still got about 7 minutes to go. He's kept that gap between him and Aro Ravindra around that 4 seconds, so he's not letting up the pressure.
Absolutely not. Look at Steve Smuts, though, aggressive line into the corner. Ravindra gets a good drive off of the exit, though. That's just the contrast in lines between him, and Smuts trying to get in that toe and get aggressive. You can see the lights flashing on the reflection of Ravindra's car. That's showing you that push to pass is being used here by Smuts, trying to get as close as possible. Both slightly missed the inside of the corner, the natural racing line, as they head up the hill into 2. It's very difficult off camera left-hander, and now turn 3 follows up. You can see the red proximity arrow. That shows just how close Smuts is. Ravindra takes that little wider line, wants to attack the exit here of turn 3, which gives him the best drive through 4. But look at Smuts, he just hangs on the rear and says, you know what, we're in for a race. Thinks about the inside. This has been a place where you can pass here at Valvoline curve, but ultimately it's a wide missed apex there from Ravindra. He's starting to make mistakes.
Initially, I thought he was holding him back for a little bit, deliberately entering the corner a little bit slowly just to get him off the line again. But Steve Smuts is not having any of it. He is going to use the push to pass multiple times to just somehow try and use a little bit of slipstream to get ahead. Aro Ravindra under pressure. This is going to go on for the next 5 minutes, and it's going to be a very, very close fight to the photo finish.
It certainly is. We did manage to get a chat, though, with a driver who has had an issue earlier on in this race. That's Lalit Jabak, and this is what he had to say as Smuts tries to find a way through into second.
Glad to be part of this interview. So my name is Lalit Jhabak. I'm 23 years old. I'm from Hyderabad, India, and I've been just getting into sim racing since the lockdown. So I'm really excited to see how this experience goes, because it's the first of its kind for me, and I'm just going to be taking it step by step.
That is Lalit Jabak in 17th. Let's go back up then to the battle between second and third places. Has championship implications at the moment. Aro Ravindra and Steve Smuts onto the front stretch once again. 5 minutes left in this race, and everything hanging on this one here for Ravindra. He'll have more work to do if this move does happen from Smuts, who doesn't set it up just yet. Now here's the next question. Smuts knows he's quicker. He's got the fast slap of the race. He's thinking about the outside line here to turn 2 as we look at Raghav Budaraja just back there in 6th place. Mia Rose in position number 5. But surely Smuts is waiting for a clinical chance so that the likes of Aro Ravindra can't get back. There's the move down the inside. He'll have to go the long way around for this next corner, or is he trying to knit one and curl one up and under and get that position here? He'll be on the outside heading towards the next corner, but no, falls back into line because that wasn't quite ideal.
Well, the Michael Schumacher S is really not turning to his advantage. Aro Ravindra parking the car where Steve Smuts doesn't want to see it. So far, he's defended well. It's going to be the straights where he's going to try and look for an advantage here. How is he going to come around this time around?
Well, into the carousel-esque corner here, the Dunlop curve, trying to take that narrow line on entry here is Smuts to attack up the hill once again. They can't afford to be too aggressive here. If they come together, Campania's going to pick up the pieces in 4th place, but Ravindra doing just enough now up the Schumacher S's. That was the opening section of the lap we were looking at through the Valvoline and 4 curves, but now you start to wonder here if you're Aro Ravindra, how well are you deploying your defensive tactics in the number 17 right now? How do you dive, and where do you go and make the move? There will be 2 laps to go here to try and make this happen, and surely if you're Smuts, if you're just looking at this, you've been stuck behind, you've been right over the back. It's surely got to be sooner rather than later. Is there going to be a look here into this next chicane? It's not the most traditional places anymore to make that pass, and again, no is the option.
I was wondering that Arun Ravindra possibly knows where Steve Smart is going to make that overtaking maneuver, so he's already preempting it. So I was wondering the one place where he's got to possibly make that happen is on the last straight, or should I say the home straight. This is it. This is where he should possibly get close as ever. And this just come on, break in a little bit late, come on the outside as soon as possible.
Oh, wow.
This is where the curve comes in. The curve comes in, this is the moment. He's got the speed, he's got, Arun Ravindra somehow undercuts him amazingly well.
Too deep, and that pretty much would have summed up Steve Smuts as well. That desk slam there, 2 laps to go, and now all of a sudden Smuts knows he's gone through, but he's got to try and make the move stick. He was too aggressive there, trying to outbrake Arun Ravindra. You've got a lot of room there in the early stages, and they're going to be coming up on lap traffic in a little bit, which will be the last thing that the likes of Arun Ravindra will be wanting, to have traffic in the way on towards the final lap. Again, Ravindra here having to work on this defensive craft here to make things happen, but Smuts gets a really good run, and we'll have to look to the outside. It always turns to the left here, though. That will favour Ravindra here as they look to jam on the brakes down at the hairpin, and once again he's run wide. Here comes the chance then. Smuts down the inside, picks it up with contact on the exit, just about holds.
Hard work pays, and it's paid off for Steve Smart. He's got to run away into the distance. He's got a faster car right now and put the pressure back on Arun Ravindra. Job well done. He tried every trick in the book. Brake late, braked early, set him up for a corner, set him up for an overtaking whenever use push to pass. Finally it's done, but there was a little contact, but the job is done right now. Thankfully it's done much before he's able to get past the back markers, but can the back markers play to Arun Ravindra's advantage?
We'll be starting the final lap of this race with Amit Kuti, who has just gone out of shot. Ravindra's not going to give this one up, though. We know that Steve Smuts isn't entirely clear at this stage, and he struggles a little bit through that section. There's Aditya Pawar in 19th position, trying to deal with his race right now, but Smuts and Ravindra will continue on here because Ravindra's got a pretty decent run and will be in the tow, and will have this opportunity to attack straight back here at turn number 1. Smuts has got to be careful. They're bringing Kathadia into this one then, defending hard to the inside goes Smuts. Ravindra's got to take the road less travelled on the outside to pick this move up. Not going to find it just yet at turn 1, trying to go up and under and around the outside then at turn 2. It's difficult because it's off camber, trying to dive back to the inside once again to attack at 3, but just much more speed being carried by Smuts, able to hold that on. Now Kathadia into the mix here, and what would this be for Amit Kuti if Kathadia could jump up onto the podium, take it away from Arun Ravindra as soon as possible? That's going to be maybe an ideal he'll be thinking of at the moment, whilst he sits comfortably at the front of the pack. But Ravindra here at this stage is under that pressure and now finds himself needing to get through to a second, but also not losing 4th place by being too aggressive here. There is Amit Kuti at the bottom of the circuit, now taking that rise up the hill. The timer has expired, then 30 minutes are up. This is the final lap of this race, and Amit Kuti has led every single moment of it without really too much to say as he puts on that curves and starts to push away with all of that power. There you can see here just how the chase goes. Nobody quite in a position here in this middle pack, in 2nd, 3rd and 4th, to really try and make something happen. Kathadia is going to need some very late braking to find himself onto the rear of Arun Ravindra and needs to be committed. Maybe it might just have to be a last corner scramble to see if anything's going to happen for Amit Kuti. Only 1 chicane and 1 corner remains after this. This is the chicane of very, very fast left and right, and then that final corner which comes into full view. With this, it will be the championship regained once again in a dogfight which seems that the scales keep tipping either way. There's never a balance. Amit Kuti has just walked away with one here at the Nürburgring. Steve Smuts is going to take 2nd position with the fastest lap as well once again, and Arun Ravindra, opportunity missed with 3rd place here today.
Oshan Katoria will look at it and say he's possibly this is the best result he could expect. But what happened to Mia Rose there? Okay, Mia Rose comes in at number 5. What a drive from her. Munjal Sabla finishes at number 7. Raghav at number 6, Tej Patel at 8, Navneet Kumar somehow brings the car at number 9. Raj it will be at 10, Garvit at number 11, and further is the long list of the drivers who are coming down in front of the finishing line. Raj Tula now crosses the line at number 10.
Yes, and we see a few drivers who are maybe out of position compared to other races that we've seen, the likes of Pratik, for example. They're down in 14th position. There's the points gain, and it's a 10-point swing for Amit Kuti, and a vital 10-point swing at that as well. When you talk about a championship which was in single figures for this one, after both Ravindra and Kuti shared 1-2 finishes, swapped between the two rounds in rounds 3 and 4 at Monza. This is a big daylight breather for Amit Kuti, who can feel like he can be very, very comfortable with that result, getting the race win that he so very, very desperately wanted. And this also has ramifications for the top 12, Solomon, because it now means that Ryden Samravel will be starting on pole position for tomorrow's race, which will be 10 minutes longer, but it will have to rely on those drivers making progress through the field.
Another important point is Pratik Sonwane will drop down to number 4. Steve Smuts will move up to number 3. Remember, he was the man that we were talking earlier who possibly had the fastest lap time but never a top 3 finish. So this one is actually played into his hands. Now, after the first 2 podiums down there, he did had a DNF, and now he should be able to take some points back home.
Absolutely, and we are going to be seeing a lot of opportunities on the horizon for drivers to try and get everything working up. We are 5 rounds in. There are 5 rounds remaining here in this one. We are going to be getting drivers in for interview. First and foremost, we'll pick up the driver who finished in 3rd position. That is Arrow Ravindra. Now, Arrow, that was not the best qualifying by your perspective, and one which you had to really work hard to try and gain those places. You got up into 2nd, but it's almost like maybe a little bit of tire life just seemed to fall away from you late on.
Yeah, I mean, can you hear me first of all?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, so I didn't have the best qualifying. I didn't have the best pace. I struggled a lot at this track. Made a good start, but then towards the end of the race, my front tires just gave up and I was just understeering a lot. And I tried defending, but Steve made a good move. So, I mean, I'm still happy with 3rd. Could have been worse.
Aro, it was a very, very good fight. You defended well. You possibly were preempting where Steve is going to attack. So you held him off for multiple number of, you actually lost count. Did you ever think that you might just be able to hold him off for a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I would be able to hold him off. Unfortunately, I made a mistake into one of the corners and he passed me. And it just takes one mistake to, lose that position. But I'll learn from this race and I'll, hopefully do better next race.
And of course, that next race, you start from 10th position. You've got to make your way through a very, very important pack. And is this going to be one of those races where you are going to be desperately looking for that sort of victory here for tomorrow, Arrow, especially knowing the fact that you now have given up the championship lead to Amit Kuti and very desperately need a few points to keep it within single-figure distance?
Yeah, for sure. Tomorrow's race is going to be very crucial. But I mean, it's a long championship. I am not going to, make any stupid moves or do anything. I'm just going to stay calm and do my best. No aggressive moves. It's a long championship. Yeah.
A long championship indeed. Before we let you go, Arrow, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
I'd like to thank you guys for making the live stream a very enjoyable. My parents watch, so yeah, thank you so much.
No worries at all. Arrow Ravindra coming home in 3rd position. We have managed to grab the race victor, Amit Kuti here, who picks up a 3rd race win of the season. Amit, now looking at that, that's probably the easiest of the 3 wins that you've had all season long. You started from pole position. You maybe were challenged into turn 1, but from that point onwards, it was a case of walking away.
Absolutely. As you said, it's probably one of the easier ones, but in terms of just I think that's just in terms of like having battles and in terms of course, because in terms of lap time and putting the laps once again and again, just doing consistent lap, this was probably the most difficult, considering no one had any incidents or anything. It was just plain sailing for everyone. So it was kind of just up to me to deliver and put the laps and be consistent again and again.
So, Amit Kuri, tomorrow you're going to be starting at number 12. The good thing is you're not going to be starting on the inside. You're going to be having a much cleaner line. Any particular plans as going into the corner one?
First of all, thanks for telling me that I'm on the outside. That's a big relief. So coming into turn one, I'm just probably gonna brake late and actually go really wide, so that even if there's any incident in the inside, I might not get collected that easily. So probably I would be taking a really wide line and just hoping for the best in the next corner, and that there are no incidents, especially in turn two, because it's pretty much impossible to avoid if they're parked horizontally in the middle of turn two.
Well, now you've got to start focusing on that championship, because you did get that victory. You did pick up 50 points, but crucially, your rival in the championship and the leader coming into this round, Ara Ravindra, only picks up third place overall. So how important was this event and this victory, knowing that now you have a little bit of breathing room to say if he wins and you finish second, that, you know, your points are pretty much even, if not you're slightly ahead?
Yeah, so actually coming into the race, I knew I had good pace in Nürburgring. It's one of my favorite tracks. And even if I finished second, knowing that I won today, it would give me that breathing space, as you said. So and going into the next race, it will also be quite helpful, considering that one race will get dropped. So probably my lowest race finish will get dropped. But this win has again helped me with my momentum, considering what happened from last week. I think I finished second in that last race, so winning here was quite good, and I think this is my first win starting in the first race. Not sure, but yeah, it was good to start on pole especially, and just carry it through to the end.
Well, the floor is yours. Shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Volkswagen and also IERC and the guys involved behind it, like Rayo and Saurav, and also and the staff which help us to make this possible, like Firoz and Mohit. So big thanks to them.
Amit Kuti then picking up a race victory, an important race victory at that. Second place went to Steve Smuts, is with us now. Now, Steve, that was a case where you really came back in the final 10 minutes. You've been having a flair for fastest laps in this series, and you found yourself with another one and an overtake in the final 2 laps.
Yeah, man. It's great to finally be able to speak to you guys. I've been plagued with network issues and all sorts. So I finally connected with a VPN. It seemed to go well, and the race seemed to come to me. I decided to kind of save my curse so I could do a fast lap attempt. It went well, and in the process I caught Arrow and just tried to get him to make the smallest of errors. Eventually made the smallest of errors around the hairpin. I had to take it. It was pretty much my last chance. I tried to keep it clean, and it paid off.
Steve, you really brought the race alive. Love the fact that you turned aggressor. There wasn't a lap that you're not going to be trying. It just took him a little mistake. But then, just wondering, had you played it in your mind? Is there a particular corner you're going to attack him?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a couple of corners where I was definitely faster. After the Schumacher S, I was probably a tenth or two faster because I took a different line, and also he took a different line into the hairpin. So if he went even slightly wide, I was set up better to be able to overtake him.
Let's talk network issues, Steve, because it's been a key part of your season so far. You've been incredibly fast. You've had probably fastest lap at almost every round that you've attended this season, but it's just been a case of the network issues have kept you out of being up there at the top and fighting for the championship. Is your goal now moving forward just to be trying to pick up victories, second places, podiums, and just trying to, you know, show that you did have the pace to maybe challenge at the top, and maybe if, you know, everything hits the kitchen sink, you maybe have an outside shot?
I mean, I'd like to think that I would be able to compete for the championship, but with the netcode issues in the last couple of races, it hurt my heart when I disconnected at Monza. I was like 5 seconds or something up the road. So it's going to be a little bit difficult, I think, with the VPN, higher pings, obviously more netcode issues. But at least I'll be able to do the entire race. So looking to ideally just finish top 3 is a goal. I'm not looking to win this, just in it for fun at this point.
Absolutely. Well, before we let you go, shout out sponsors. Anyone you'd like to thank for picking up second place here today?
One of the guys behind the scenes, actually, Feroz, was up until 2 in the morning last night trying to get me to connect without a VPN. We tried like everything we could think of. Nothing worked, so eventually I just had to connect with a VPN. But Feroz, all the guys from IR Esports, my family for putting up with my my craziness during the week. That's pretty much it, yeah.
Completely understandable. Steve Smuts picking up second position overall. We have a chance to talk to one more person, and that, of course, is the driver who finished in 5th place, and she is Mia Rose, and she's with me right now. Mia, this is a case of a reunion for us. We haven't talked in a little bit, but in terms of your race, you started off in 10th position, trying to get maybe a little bit of a feel for this Volkswagen Polo, and then all of a sudden it just looked like the race just fell into your lap. Just position after position, then you got yourself into the top 5.
Yeah, start of the race, lap 1 was very stressful, seeing as my ping is very high to the server. But other than the first lap, it was, I was sort of getting used to the car with high fuel and in a race scenario. And as you said, towards the end of the race, it just people just started dropping back. I started getting position. I think it was mostly down to braking. I seemed to have a lot of braking power, especially into turn 1, is where I got a lot of the moves done. But other than that, it was a really good race. Car was good. Now I know what to do for the race tomorrow.
You know, when we saw you overtaking earlier on, starting somewhere at 10, and then you went on to 9, and then close to the top 5, I just thought you grew in confidence. Now, which was your favorite overtaking maneuver, if I can ask?
Probably, I think it was the one for 6th place into turn 1. That was probably the best one. It was more of a very calculated move because I knew what his line was, so I just basically just sent it down the inside and got the move done. A little contact on the exit, but other than that, it was a beautiful move.
And now looking forward, you've got a reverse grid race coming up. You finished in 5th place in this one, so if my maths is correct, and because I'm a commentator, that means my maths isn't very good, it's an 8th place start for you in the next race coming up tomorrow. So from about a similar place you started the original race that we had here today, is this going to be another case of you just looking at those drives behind and especially using that experience you have of being an endurance style of driver?
Yeah, certainly. It's also going to be another play in the part too, as the drivers in front. They are slower drivers. They finished behind me today. They'll be ahead of me tomorrow at the start. It'll probably just be about basically picking and choosing my battles and not trying to leave a door open for someone behind to go past.
Well, floor is yours here. Mia, shout out sponsors. Anyone you'd like to thank for a P5 finish?
Not a lot of people really. I didn't have a lot of laps going into the night, but I'd probably like to thank the John Lazy Esports Academy for recently bringing me on as one of their drivers. But other than that, that's it.
Well, no worries at all. Mia Rose coming home with 5th position then at the end of proceedings. But that pretty much wraps up an end to tonight's battling that we have seen today at the Nürburgring and the Volkswagen Virtual Racing Championship. VW VRC is halfway through, but there's a second half which will be just as hotly contested, and that starts tomorrow with that one. Same time, same place, but 10 minutes more in terms of action. You do not want to miss a moment of it because this championship is incredibly close and incredibly very, very tight. So everyone is going to be pretty much on a knife edge trying to make this one happen. From the likes, of course, of Solomon here on my right-hand side and myself, Jake Sperry, it's one which Amit Kuti will have that shine and will have that smile. It's a victory that he will definitely savor, and it's one that takes initiative. This is a championship of initiative. It's who's going to have it when it comes to round 10.
you only understand it when you feel it, you know?
Volkswagen.
There's an old saying in motorsport, you know, if you want to make a million, start with a billion.
You got to work your way up. You got to have talent. Ultimately, you have to be born with an ability to drive the car fast. I think you have to be practical, pragmatic. You have to be able to bounce back from a lot of setbacks, because you'll have 9 bad days for every one day. But the joy you feel on that one day makes up for the other 9.
It's probably one of the toughest sports mentally, physically, and many people crack, many people move aside and fade away. But if you want to sustain, then you have to really fight it.
You have to be fearless. You are always fighting against, and you don't think about what could happen when things go really wrong.
If you don't have that little bit of craziness in you, it's not going to really work out long term.
In my mind, I always use the aggressive approach. If you don't want to move forward, you always end up going backwards.
For me, it's always a great experience, motorsports, because you smell the tires, you smell the oil, you smell the excitement of the drivers, and it's just car pure.
You know, it also goes as a big sacrifice in terms of your career, because you're into something which is not conventional, and it's not going to give you too much of returns monetary, at least not in the short term. You know, where your friends are, you know, doing masters, living in the US, you know, making a lot of money. You know, you're here doing your thing that you love, which is not really giving you back in monetary terms, but you definitely go back home and sleep good because you're doing what you love at the end of the day.
The driver needs to extract every last fraction of a second, otherwise they're not going to win.
Power. You only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.
Racing, competing, is in my blood. It's part of me, it's part of my life. I've been doing it all my life. It stands up before anything else.
So we've been here for 10 years now, and we've been kind of creating the journey. We've been very much focusing on young drivers in order to create also a wider scale in this country.
The idea of Volkswagen as a brand is to support and grow motorsport.
They will not be able to hear anything. right 3. 30. 7 left. 20. 8 right over crest into care. 5 right. 8 right over crest into care. 5 right. 20 down. Right, don't go wide. 50. Slow 7 right, then 6 right. 30. 7 right, up exit narrows. 40. 5 left, then 5 right bites. 40. 1 left plus. 1 left plus. .250, room outside. Narrow of a jump. 130. Pink right. Up before. 6 right up. 60.
It's hard to explain why. It's just that feeling of freedom, you know? Being out there on the road and you have all this power. I mean, I could just be cruising down the road, taking it easy, or I could push that pedal and make that engine sing, right? Power is, it's a beautiful thing, man. But, you only understand it when you feel it, you know? And when you do, trust me, you'll know why we live for these nights.
Volkswagen.